Hey, graphic designers, have you ever worked on a design where your client wants the ability to edit the design file, maybe change up some things later because the design is not static, content needs to be changed in it? Or, as in my case, you're working with a team which comprises of social media managers or marketing professionals that need to be able to change some things after the design has been completed. Look at this design on my screen right now. It's for a conference that is coming up very soon, which is Search Africon 2020. In this design, it's a template that shows the speakers that will be talking in the event, and obviously the names of the speakers as well as the images of the speakers needs to be changed for all the different speakers. Now, I would have really loved it if the team could send me all of the images and all of the names for me to edit every single one of them myself. But the timing for the design is very, very fast-paced, and the marketing team would love the ability to make changes on their own. Now, using a professional design tool like Photoshop, Illustrator, or as in my case, Affinity, which I am really, really loving, by the way, the marketing team or non-designers would find it difficult to make edits there. So this is where a tool like Canva usually comes in. See, Canva is a very beginner-friendly design tool used by non-designers like everyday people to create very quick social media graphics. And so the marketing team or some clients, like I described earlier, would ask you as a professional designer to please use Canva to make their designs. Now, if you've ever tried the tools, you realize that professional designers don't like Canva because it lacks a lot of professional tools when you want to make some complex design. It doesn't allow for a lot of freedom. For one, it doesn't have a pen tool which allows you to make, some brand design works or illustrations that you want to do. The photo editing tools are very limited. The shapes are very, very limited to what Canva provides you, and a whole bunch of other downsides. Canva is a very powerful tool, but it falls apart when you want to create some complex or unique work. So that said, what is the way forward when a client asks you to make a design for them on Canva when you still want to have the ability to use professional tools? This is where Affinity shows its power. Early last year, Affinity was acquired by the company Canva, and over time they have created a lot of integrations with Canva that makes both of them work seamlessly together. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I created a complex design in Affinity with, as you can see, some custom illustrations, some patterns that you can see in the background here, this little illustration amongst many others, and then I was able to export it to Canva so that it can be easily edited. So I have all the powers of the professional design tool and then the flexibility to export it later to Canva so that the marketing team or the social media team can make their edits later. Screen are some of the custom brand assets that would be pretty difficult for you to create in a tool like Canva because you are starting from scratch and you're using the pen tool to illustrate some of these items. As you can see on displays, I have a snapshot of some of my sketches that I drew on paper before bringing it into Affinity and then sketching it out with the pen tool. So I did some of these patterns and these triangular patterns we have going on here, the yellow version, the yellow and the green version, and only the green version. And I used this asset for the dates in many of the designs that we're working with. And then I used the Lagos signpost illustration to show the venue. And then I made some star little icons here and then this little chatbot, as well as some patterns that I can use in the background of some of the designs. These patterns, I drew them using the pen tool in Affinity so that they can serve as background for some of the designs. So as we move forward, you're going to be seeing where some of these different assets are applied in some of my designs. I also made illustrations of some of these assets, of some of these images of key locations you can find in Lagos State. So like the Lekki Bridge, for instance, served as a foundation for this particular illustration, and you can see some of the use cases of this illustration in design. Now, making this illustration in the first place in Canva is going to be pretty difficult compared to using the professional design tool. And you can see some of those circular patterns I showed you earlier in use in a design. Now, let me head on over to another design. You can also see in this part, this I will be attending flyer. This is a custom illustrated envelope that shows registration successful. Every single item here is separate from each other, showing that it is a custom illustration. So now to export to Canva. The process is actually very simple. Once you've completed your design, all you have to do is select it. Now, I've observed that when the file size you're working with is quite big, it's going to take a while for it to load because it's going to upload the file. So what I would do is I'm going to open this particular design in a new file. So I'm going to do copy. I've copied everything I selected right now. And I'll go over to file, and then I'll click new from clipboard. This is a nice feature, by the way, I think other design tools should adopt. So new from clipboard is going to create a new Affinity file based on what I currently copied and nothing else. So now that I have this selected, I want to export it as a Canva file. So I'm going to go over to file and then export, click export, and we have a variety of options to export from. I'm going to ignore everything else here and go over to Canva design. Now you select your the account that you are signed into on Canva. In my case, it's brand GM account. I'm going to click show in browser and I'll click export. So what's going to happen is Canva would upload the file. It will take a few minutes, and immediately after I finish uploading, my browser is going to open up and show me the editable design. So as you can see, it automatically opened a new tab in my browser, and this is the design we have here. So here's what you'd quickly notice. It exported the entire design almost perfectly. The only thing I need to do now is to change these fonts to the fonts that I used in the design. So I'm going to select all the fonts that it didn't get right and change them up. I've already uploaded the font to my account before now, so I'm going to click this Brutal Milk number 3, and it's going to change that. And you know what, I'll just click change all. So this change needs to affect every single typography that I have going on here, except of course there are some that is not Brutal Milk, like the name is actually a different font. So let's go over back to the design, and this is going to be Clash Display. This will be Clash Display, and that is that. Now this here is not good. Okay, so I'm going to center align this, and I'm going to change this font to what it was before, which is Clash Display. It's going to look much better. Now, as you can see, what is going on right here is one of the downsides I told you about, which is Canva not being able to make some complex edits. Earlier on, I focused on the lack of pen tool, which allows you not to be able to do bespoke illustrations. But Canva also sucks at text manipulations. The only thing that Canva can do here for text is to rotate a text or to increase and decrease its size. Whereas in professional design tools, you have the ability to do much more than rotating and increasing size. You can also skew a text so that it would look perfectly placed on a plane that you're working on. So because of that limitation of Canva, this text doesn't look very good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete everything here and redraw that white rectangle behind text but in front of the image. I'm going to go over to Affinity and I'll select this illustration here, right click on it and just do copy, and then I'll go over here and simply paste my illustration. I'm able to upload this as an image simply because I know that the location of the event is not going to be changing. The only thing that the marketers or social media designers, as the case may be, needs to change is the image of the speaker and the name of the speaker. Both of those things are perfectly editable. So I hope that this tutorial has been helpful to you. If it is, drop a comment and let me know. Feel free to like or subscribe, or if you have any questions, you can ask me and I'll make a video based on your suggestion. Checkmate your day.